Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This evening, I want to share with you a true story. The life story of an elderly garbage collector, an elderly Chinese woman whom we fondly call her Ah-Po. Ah-Po was about 70 years old when I first met her. She lived alone in the rented flat here at Bishan Housing Estate with no family or relative. She was both tiny and energetic, always dressed in her old and faded Chinese traditional sanfu. Her face was quite wrinkled, but always with a radiant smile. People were attracted by her cheerfulness, struck by her pleasant directness, and fascinated by her simple belief, which is to recycle waste to protect our environment. Ah-Po has no specific religion. Her faith was in human kindness and compassion. Each day, she went around our estate, rummaging through garbage bins for aluminum drink cans and plastic bottles. She then sold them to a contractor who paid her 5 cents per can or per bottle. Her daily income ranged from $2 to $5, barely enough for food and drink. I once asked Ah-Po why at her old age she wanted to do this work. She replied in Hokkien, when I was a little girl, Bishan was a kampong. There were many trees and bushes we could run around. Today children, very sad. No tree to climb, no bushes to play. Today Singapore, many tall buildings, no good for children. Children must have playground to run around. We must protect the nature for our children. Yes, Ah-Po's life motto is to protect the nature for our next generation, which is simple but yet noble. Early March this year, I realized I have not seen Ah-Po wandering around our estates for some days. Where is she? What could she be doing? I wondered. One late evening that same week, I saw a medium-sized woman, around 30s, clean-looking and neatly dressed. Obviously not someone who is poor, and definitely not someone who needs to rummage through garbage bins or waste. This woman looked a respectable person who reminded me of Grace, our fellow Toastmaster. But then, why is this woman snatching away the job of a poor old woman, staring fiercely at this intruder? I became upset and angry, and gazed fiercely my contemptuous eyes at her. I walked up and confronted this despicable character. Why are you snatching away the job of the poor old woman? The intruder looked at me and replied calmly, I am not competing with the old woman. I'm here helping her. Ah-Po has fallen sick this week and could not leave her bed. But she still wishes to continue her daily work picking up plastic bottles and cans. I'm here to help her fulfill her wish to provide peace in her mind. The words of this intruder dumbfounded me. I felt guilty. I have wrongly accused someone who is a kind soul, a good Samaritan. I looked down and was embarrassed of my judgmental attitude and deplorable behavior. I learned her name is Jane, who also lives in the neighborhood. She is a volunteer, old folk befriender. and has offered to nurse Ah Po now that she's sick. A few weeks later, I bumped again into Jane and asked about Ah Po. Jane bit her lips as her eye welled with tears. She blinked them back furiously until she couldn't blink any further, and they streamed down her face. Ah Po passed away last week, as she was poor and had no relative. There was no funeral for her. Her body was cremated in the temple. I was deeply shocked and profoundly saddened by the news, and asked Jane, tell me, what was her last moment like? Jane replied calmly, her last moment was calm and peaceful. The nurse and I went into her room that early morning, and she awoke, looked into our eyes, and shed a tear. I held her close for one last time, and then she asked me to sing for her favorite Hokkien lullaby. Ti o de lo ho a kong kia ti tao he would to. Before I could finish the lullaby, the painful sound of her breathing went silent. She looked at me, opened her eyes wide, and stared straight ahead. In that morning, sunlight coming through the window, you could actually see her aura light up the room. And then her breathing became very shallow. And then, with a slight squeeze of my hand, she was gone. Jane continued. On her last day, she passed me a newspaper wrapping and asked me to donate it to an environmental protection body. Inside the newspaper was $2,000, her whole life saving. Yes, Ah Po has passed away, and soon no one will remember her name. Ah Po's daily routine might be collecting garbage, picking up drink cans and plastic bottles. But her spirit of cheerfulness and perseverance, her commitment to her life mission, her dream to protect the environment for our children is the root of our ancestors' value, the stem of human dignity, the blossom of human pride. That is the aspiration of our ancestors. That is the spirit of our forefathers. That is Singapore dream. Toastmaster.